Welcome to Thursday Night Knives. I'm Bob DeMarco. Coming up, I give away this. Oh, thought I could do it on the first try. This Williamson blade, this Williamson Copenhagen knife, so cool, designed by Mikkel Williamson out of Denmark. And then I show you my wrapped Perrin Le Dag. And then I show you this incredible Gentleman Junkie knife giveaway knife for September of 2024. It is really cool, amazing, outstanding, and a generous donation by Northern Knives. And the last time they gave us something, it was super cool. It's from the same outfit from Northern Knives and uh, um, uh, Colorful Filth. That's Paul Munko's company, and we're gonna check that out. Very cool. Anyway, a long blathery way of saying good evening, people. I hope you're doing well, and I hope you're enjoying this near beginning of the weekend. Marco, good to have you here, sir. Evening, Bob and Knife Junkies. Good evening to you, sir. Pete Davidson, good day, Jim, Bob, Jim, and the rest of the mob. How's it going? It's going great, Pete. How's it going with you down under? Most carried knife for me has to be an equal draw between Endura and Police 4 with K390 steel. I love that K390. I also love whatever it is that's coming out in that deep dark maroon FRN with the black blade. That looks so cool. I can't remember. Is that Rex 45? Something like that. But Pete, very good choices. Pete says both are long enough and thin enough to get the job done. Totally ambidextrous, feel comfortable to hold and carry, and save a steel choice for any occasion, and have a steel choice for any occasion. They all work. I love the Police model. The original all stainless steel Police with the serrations was the first time I saw and fell in love with a Spyderco. It was a guy working at a kind of a courier bike shop in Philadelphia in the early 90s. And I was like, what is that? Because he pulled it out to like open something up, and it was like 4¼ inches and serrations and pocket clip. And oh my God. And he opened it with one hand. And I somehow found out what it was. This was pre-internet. And I was like, what? He paid that for a knife? And that gave me something to aspire to. RB81, good to have you here, RB. Victorinox, so I can trim nose hairs, pull splinters and such. Well, RB, it's funny you should say that, because I am particularly hirsute in the nostrils, and so I'm constantly at it. I have used the classic SD scissors for nose hair clippage. Not sure if you're being sarcastic or for real, but they will work in a pinch. Ogre Man, nice to have you here, Ogre Man. Hello, Bob and all. This is Chris, aka Blade Ogre. Blade Ogre. All right, cool, gotcha. Have a different schedule now and don't buy near as many knives as I used to, but want to say, hey, most carried knife is still the ProTech Bren 3. Ah, so cool. So, Chris, I got a chance to meet Mr. Brend, Walter Brend, at Blade Show this year. I had invited him on the show. He said yes. And then he got back to me like a week later. He's like, you know what? I'm too old for this. I'm just not into it. But thank you. And I was like, oh, thank you. I hope it works someday. But so I got a chance to introduce myself, and he showed me some of his work, and we talked for a while. It was really cool. I love the Brend. Chris, it doesn't matter that you're not buying knives, but it's that you are still knife oriented. You still like a good edge. You still like a good heat treat and awesome action. So, just because you're not buying or acquiring does not mean you're out of the hobby. So good to have you here, Chris. Speaking of good to have you here, have a knife day. Nice to have you here, sir. My gym knife is the Fox Knives. I love that. Holy mackerel. The Fox Knives Gecko FX 537 SW Bastinelli. And you can kind of wave that one open, right? That's the one with the real sort of gradual wave in a way. I've been carrying the newly acquired Cold Steel Black Rhino for obvious reasons, because it's absolutely sweet, and anyone in the know wants that knife. The fixed knife has been my bearing made S-Guard Fighter, another beautiful knife. Pardon me. I had a chance to speak with someone from Bearing Knife at Blade Show set up a couple years ago. It was very interesting, and we need to still need to get some sort of interview on the books because that's a really cool outfit, and they make pretty awesome looking knives. Groundfog, nice to have you here, Groundfog, on this Thursday night. What is it? The 29th. That's right. Broke Arizona Knives, Broke AZ Knives. Good to have you here back. Speaking of which, Dave, evening, Bob, and all yo junkies. Good to have you here, Dave. Speaking of incredible action or incredible collections and a great channel, you must go check out Dave at OG Blade Reviews. Hey, Doug, how's it going? We have Doug Bull. Hi, Bob, and all the gang. Awesome to have you here. Still have the SOG out on patrol. It's kind of out. It's a permanent fixture on top of one of my knife cabinets right now. I love it. Thank you again for that. Craig Vincent, pleasure to have you with us, Craig. Evening, Bob, Jim, and Knife Folk. That's what it is, Knife Folk. 5-door. 5-door. Is it you who's been doing like a one knife challenge? Someone, if it's not you, someone like you with a really awesome and sort of deep cut collection is doing a one knife challenge that I'm following on Instagram. And now I'm not sure if it's you, but anyway, and awesome to have you here. I always love seeing your setup. Actually, I don't think it's you because I recently saw your something with a GEC. So yeah, I don't think it's you. Joseph S. Good evening to you, Joseph S. Trent Costello, howdy from Texas. Trent, I got a bunch of big fixed blades out for for all of us to check out tonight. I discovered actually baseball bat tape works great on this SB10. This handle always bugged, though I like the contours of it and almost everything, but it's just a little too grippy on the rubber side. And I saw someone, I don't know, maybe Tony Lopez or someone had wrapped a handle with what was presumably baseball bat tape. And I recently got a new Louisville Slugger for the car and wrapped the tape. And so I had some leftover, put it on this. It's like a new knife. It feels so good. But Mr. Costello, we have some big Bowies here and some other fixed blades to show off. I know you will like them especially. Frankie Frank, nice to have you here, Frank. Greetings, Knife Junkies, Bob and Jim. It's great to be here, and we're back at it again. Let's talk about knives. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. This, again, that Marine Raider profile. I love that with the downward angled straight edge with the deep belly and the deep clip. And, they have variations. The W49 Western is kind of the superlative version of that, in my opinion, or the case Marine Bowie. I don't know what that's called, but with the little knobs on the end of the Quillians. Just awesome. And then, of course, it's the new Work Tough gear. OG Blade says, most carried EDC blade over the past month has been the MSI by Microtech, an injection molded flavor. Yes. Oh, injection molded flavor. One of the knives I have out for most carried because, man, all summer long, I kept going back to this. This is the Gen 2 version of the Microtech LUDT. LUDT. Yeah. Gen 2. Large underwater demolition team knife. And this was like the last one I could find in this Gen 2 setup after Gen 3 came out. And it was in this purple, and I kind of held my nose and bought it, but I actually love it. I love that purple color. It's also kind of friendly, and especially in the summer, shorts weather, you got this friendly purple anodized knife. Hey, how's it going? Sure, I can cut down that balloon or whatever. And it flips open, and they're like, I don't know, kind of menacing, but also charming. So easier to get away with something that doesn't look nasty. And by the way, the Kaiser Assassin, I will never stop harping on that. This doesn't have a name like that, though. If you look at the acronym, demolition is in the name. Will be always a pleasure. Will, nice to have you here. Good evening, Bob, Jim, and fellow junkies. Good to have you with us over under pull. Nice to have you here over under pull. Hello. So look forward to these chats. Oh, that's awesome, man. Well, thank you. Pay attention. It's closed. No need to close quickly. Just like no need to speed reholster. You can speed shoot, but you don't need to really speed reholster, right? Is that right? It seems to me like speed reholstering might be where some of the accidents happen. Dan Ringman, nice to have you here, Dan. TKL Agent 001, thank you. Thank you, sir. Well, that's actually on my list too. It's also in my pocket check, but since we're talking about it, I've been carrying this all summer, all the time. This and the Nova 2, which I'll also show off in a minute. Doug Bull says, I carry the Sidewinder. That's that SOG we were talking about, beautiful SOG. And with it being such a strong lockback, comparable to a fixed blade, I had a sheath made to carry it open. That's interesting. So I have the option of closed or open blade. That's right. You showed me that. And right, you sent me a picture of that, Doug. And I like that. And I haven't seen that in too many places, but I remember late 90s, early 2000s, I do remember people making kind of neck knife sheaths for Enduras and Delicas open, and like small cold steel Voyagers and that kind of thing. Cooper Clark, nice to have you here, Cooper. First live Thursday night knives. Well, welcome, sir, in real time. Most carried is my Sebenza 31 with black micarta in Magna Cut, or my 15V Spyderco Mannix. So we have a man of refined taste here, because I got to say, I've heard a lot of great things about that 15V, but I love Magna Cut. I do. And I love Chris Reeve knives, the Sebenza, and the 31 has a lot of things from the Umnumzahn that I like, including the interface. So yeah, man, great choice. Northern Knives, nice to have you here with us, Mike. Hello, Jim, Bob, and Junkies. Very nice to have you here. We're going to show off what you sent me. Mike sent me something that we're going to give away for the Gentleman Junkie knife giveaway on September 19th, I believe it is. And it is really cool. This is one of those giveaways where you want to get in on this. This is at least worth a month of being a patron. I know that's a little, well, people do that, and that's fine. I mean, we all benefit from it. You might win the knife and you're out $10 if you don't. But if you do win the knife, I'm in $10 and you get this amazing thing. I'm going to show you in a minute under this beautiful camera right here. Jacob Green, nice to have you here, Jacob. Most carried knife, quote unquote, would be my Leatherman Wave Plus. I've used it to unjam and fix printing equipment at work multiple times. Nice. By unjam, is that like stab? I'm just kidding. We have everything's great until it stops working. So we have a printer that works marginally well, though. Not if you want to present anything. Not that I have to present anything on paper ever, but I like nice, clean. I'm kind of like, I have my notebooks and everything is very ordered, and I don't like lines and stuff. We have one printer that just randomly puts all sorts of. Anyway, Daniel Huff, nice to have you here, Daniel. Good evening, Bob, Jim, and fellow junkies. My Spyderco Endura K390. Okay, this is the second mention tonight. Is my primary EDC. It just gets the job done. What is it about the K390? Now, I know it's something like one of my most carried knives, the Mystic. This is in Rex 45. I do know that at patinas, though, this patina is starting to happen pretty nicely. This is from food, mostly hot meat. And yeah, you can only see it in some lights. It doesn't patina super. It doesn't patina hard, bro. Brian F., nice to have you here, Brian. What's up, Knife Fam? Well, what's up with you, sir? And what's up with K390? Why the love? I mean, I just tell me, and I'll buy it hook, line, and sinker, because I'm loving the Rex 45. If you're telling me it's because it's somewhat a carbon steel and it patinas nicely and wears nicely and is tough, totally in. Craig Vincent, 8010 and Rat 1 equally, just because. The Rat 1. See, for me in the Rat series, it's the 2. I love my Rat 2, but that's because my Rat 2 has more of a sentimental value than my Rat 1. So I think that's why I go that way. Frankie Frank says most carried is the Cold Steel SR1 clip point, the Spartan, and the good old Voyager Vaquero serrated cuts 3 times deeper, according to Lynn Thompson. Indeed. Let's see. Oh, right here. I have a bunch of them right here. Check this out. I wanted to show off. I used to carry this when I lived in New York, and now, pardon me, it freaks me out to think that I walked around with such an illegal knife on me. But I had this, and then I carried this one a lot too. This one I carried appendix. This one I just was an EDC. I didn't carry this all the time. And then these are its modern versions. You can see how the blade changed over time. It's a little less sinuous, a little less thin, but that point is always after a substantial recurve, and it's always pretty much center line. This is based on the Turkish Yadigan, that blade is. And then I think some of it is also sort of based, especially these earlier ones, on the Navaja. But really, when you talk to Lynn Thompson, or when you see his videos about the Vaquero blade, he'll mention the Turkish Yadigan, which is such a cool kind of short sword. Check it out if you're just listening. Matthew W. PD1. First of all, thanks for joining us, sir, and for commenting. PD1, I believe, is the steel for the maroon handle Spyderco's. PD1. Right. And you're absolutely right. I remember reading it and thinking, oh, that's like BD1, but fancy. It's further on in the alphabet, so you know it's a better steel. Will B says, I carry my Oh, yeah. Pardon me. I carry my Microtech Amphibian in my back pocket all the time. It's pretty much the only knife I always have. That is such an awesome knife to always have. And if you can rock it in your back pocket, more power to you, because that's the knife I always forget about, but comes in a pinch always. It's pretty much the only knife I always have. I change everything else out and rotate things through. So what is it about the Amphibian, Will? Is it the overall like arc when it's open? Is it the recurve of the blade, or like what is it? Isaiah Ramirez, nice to have you here, Isaiah. Loving the new fixed blade Tepes, aka Impaler, by BW Knives. I don't know this one, so I love Tepe designs. I don't know the brand though. And the Impaler. All right, gotta say, that's another name. That's another name. It's not going to help you in court. The Impaler. It should be the Gardener. It should be the Rose Pruner. Here, it's called the Rose Pruner. It's for pruning roses. Way better than it's called the Obliterator or the Eviscerator or the Annihilator or the Murderer or whatever. I mean, like, come on. Let's not be so on the nose, people, especially with the self-defense-y kind of knives. We're trying to destigmatize, right? That Kaiser Assassin. I'll never get over that. It's like, it's such a charming little EDC knife, and you call it the Assassin. Irresponsible. Have a Knife Day says, yes, the wave is not is not as pronounced as the Emerson, but it gets it done nicely. Right. It's more subtle. And I think you can use it for more things and probably open it up on more surfaces, like people's arms and stuff, I would imagine. Like with an Emerson wave or the cold steel sort of plate style wave, you really have to catch it on something very specific. On your knife, I think you can really like hit someone's arm with it, and then kind of like the what's that guy? What's his name? Well, kind of like this guy Brent something, where you can just sort of open it up on the guy himself. What the hell is his name? I think someone will help me here. Think of a knife with a very tall peak that you can use in impact, and you can also open with. And a couple of you guys, I know Steve Price has one by him. I think, anyway, I'm getting ahead of myself, and I'm saying anyway, and I'm trying to stop saying that because someone I dislike very roundly says that all the time. Angry Tom's Hat Next Door. Nice to have you here, Angry Tom. Hello, everyone. Most carried case Sodbuster CV. Yes, with 6.5 bone stag in my side drawer case sheath. I just love in my side draw case sheath. I just love that knife. It's a go-to for me. I love the case Sodbuster. Probably the best case, and I think, or one of the best cases anyway. And I think that they take special care with their CV lines because they are few and far between, and they're special and different. They always seem to be higher quality, always seem to be a better grind on the blade too. Byron, nice to have Split and Slices with us. He has a cool video out today about 5 different knives. It's kind of a profile. Very cool. Howdy, Bob, Jim, and Junkies. Thursday Night Knives. Glad to be here with such kindred carriers. I'm glad you're here with us. I'm just starting to think about a guest we're going to have on shortly. I'm very excited to talk to him. He makes a lot of Neolithic tools. His name is Donnie Dust. Check him out. But I'm looking forward to talking to him. I was watching him today while I was kind of having the computer chug along, doing some work for me at work. I watched a video of him make a little knife, and it was very cool, out of flint, flint napping and all that kind of stuff. Pete Davidson, some sort of Victorinox always lives in the left pocket with the Spyderco. Mini Champ, Rambler, Compact, and Mountaineer are the most used for me. I love the Compact. Do you have, Compact. I carry that thing all the time, and I have one of those little hooks with this that suspends it in your pocket, so it's not just flopping around in there. And that Compact, because I can tighten my glasses. I wear glasses all the time, not here because I'm so close to my camera. I don't need it, and then it'd be weird for me to try and look at the screen, but mostly I wear glasses. And the Compact helps a lot. 5 Door says, Bob, I started that one knife for a month challenge by accident. I decided it's not for me. Yeah, me neither. I mean, I'd be like, sure, I'll carry like one knife in the back left pocket position all month, but everything else has to rotate, including all 3 other knives to 4 to 5, because I always have a bag with me, and they carry. I just emptied out my bag tonight, and I have so many knives in there. Like, I forgot I even had in there. Kilkenny, nice to have you here, Kilkenny. Most carried knife lately is my Rosecraft Bowfin. My wife bought it for me. I really like it. That's a nice knife. I like that one. I like that overall arc of that knife. I do hope they consider a crossbar lock version in the near future. Huh. So, okay. So it's button lock. Okay. They've been doing the button locks recently. Toyotas and tools. Nice to have you here, Toyotas. And I got to say, in your avatar, that giant tool chest, awesome. Think of all the knives you could fit in there. That's something Nothing Fancy would carry. He loves purple knives. Oh, yeah, that's right. Nothing Fancy. I've been trying to get him on the show. Well, I've sort of given up, but I'd love to have him on the Knife Junkie podcast. I'd love to talk to that guy. I've heard he's kind of a dick, but people talk. I'm sure he'd be awesome. Like anyone else, like he would come on the show. I'm sure he'd be great, but you never know. You might catch someone in person at a bad time, bad moment, or you might not be ready to accept someone else. You might think they're a jerk. I get it. But I would love to have him on anyway, because he started all of this. I think, in my opinion, him and Cutlery Lover, like, very early knife reviewers. Split and Slices says, my most carried knife is by far the Cold Steel Recon 1 in S35 VN spear point. And that's hollow ground, right? I specifically researched the best heavy-duty locking working folder, preferably in stainless at the best price. It won. And it is so comfortable. Okay, I don't know if you saw this, Byron. If this is like your top knife or EDC carry, it was mine at one point, but you know how I rotate. I just saw today it's coming out in Magna Cut, and it's being produced in Italy, which to me means Lion Steel. I think Lion Steel is the one who does the sorry for this sound. I believe it's Lion Steel that does the Cold Steel Italy fabrication. So that is something to check out, because Magna Cut, we love Magna Cut. Then again, Lion Steel, if it is Lion Steel, I have heard, I don't know, this is scuttlebutt, that maybe they don't push their heat treat to the limit. But if the client is Cold Steel, you know that if the client is Cold Steel with the ghost of Lynn Thompson past, like, infused, it will be all about the heat treat, and they will get it right, because Lynn Thompson is a damn stickler for heat treat, which is great. And that's how they got by on OS 8 for so many years. still making some of the best knives out there. Like when it comes to actual use, not just pocket candy. Pete Davidson says, in my line of work, speed reholstering is a major consideration for primary carrying. Okay, you got to tell me. For me, it's important to get it out, put it away before anyone knows what's going on. Pete, what do you do? And is this for knives or for firearms? I'd be interested to know when you have to put it away discreetly. That's like when you're doing sort of like, I've never done this. Robert Von Darth, aloha to you, sir. But you know, when it's an assassination in a crowded train station, you're like in the back of the head, and then you like, is that it? And then you got to put it away. Apex Alchemy, nice to have you here, Billy. What's going on, Bobby D? Not much. How you doing, sir? Good to have you here with us. Mark Salva, rock the Casbah. Indeed, rock the Casbah. I remember my sister got that album. Was that London Calling on record? Because I was the youngest and I was born in 71. So my sister and brother were both born in the 60s, bro. And yeah, I remember records for Christmas, and London Calling was one of them, with the bass player smashing his bass, his beautiful Fender Precision bass on the stage. Is that? Oh, that's a Gato dressed up like a lion. For a second, I thought that was an Ewok, but I'm so glad it's not an Ewok. I'm so glad that it's a Gato. A brutal kitty. Most carried right now. First of all, thank you for joining us, sir or madam. Most carried right now is my El Pioneero, because I'm waiting for my TCal to come in. Nice. Wait, El Pioneero. Oh. You know what, man? When that knife came out, I saw it. I had Jock's version, Jock's knife. He ordered one. It came here, and I was like, "This is cool. It's all right. It's kind of like a stick." Man, I want that knife so badly now. I mean, it really grew on me while it was here, and I was like, "If I got it, I get that second edge." So, tell me, a brutal kitty, did you get that secondary edge, the swedge sharpened on that? Because that knife is cool. I think that knife has really grown on me. First, I thought it was too pedestrian, too much like a steak knife. And then I was like, but there's some of the beauty in it. It's not as menacing as something as like this awesome. Don't get me wrong. I love the Shield and Scythe by Tier 1, or I should say DC Blades. But you open this up and it's like, it's no doubt what this is for. You pull out the El Pioneero, it might be just your steak knife or your knife, period, for everything. Apex Alchemy says K390 is a tool steel that was designed to eat rocks. Very nice. Just like me, eating rocks. High impact resistant, high hardness capability, and excellent wear resistance. Bowler's version of 10V. Oh, mana. That's okay. K390. I'd love to check that out. Like I'll know the difference. That's the problem with me. Like all of these awesome steels, which I'm willing on certain knives to pay a premium for. I'll never take them to their limit. Then again, I'm also willing to pay a premium for a custom knife that is made in well, this is 3V. Okay, this is not a good example. Let me say, like, for instance, this knife. This is an expensive knife. This is the Nova 2. That's 154 cm. This is all about this being very well ground, very well heat treated, and totally handmade. But some knives made by big manufacturers, I'm like, well, if I'm going to spend that money, I want some steel that, K390. Well, Jim, can you go back? Cooper Clark says K390 holds an edge forever. Get a K390 Stretch 2. The Stretch 2 is nice. I got to say, for me, it'll be the lightweight Police, though. I've always wanted a Police, never had one. Didn't even have one and sold it and regretted it. James Hart, nice to have you here with us, James. I often carry the Cold Steel Voyager Clip Point XL. You'll see in a minute why I said with the 5.5-inch blade, it fits nicely into my pocket. Well, with James saying that, I think it is now time to get to a pocket check.
What's in his pocket? Let's find out. Here's the Knife Junkie with his pocket check of knives.
In my front right pocket today, I had the Dirk Pinkerton designed Navaja inspired Night Horse. This is manufactured by Asymmetrical. Asymmetrical is the mid-tier line from Beyond EDC. There was Beyond EDC, Asymmetrical, and then Terra Mundi was their top of the line. That's the one that John Demko designed the River Wolf for. This is a beautiful S35VN modern Spanish clip point blade. That's like a 4¼ inch blade with a beautiful horn-shaped titanium frame lock handle. This thing is so cool. This is an exclusive at Smoky Mountain Knife Works. They have this version, which is like, I don't know, $170 or something. And then they have like a $40 version. Or 30. It's like ridiculously inexpensive with Contour G10 and 14C28N. It's almost more desirable than this knife that's many times more than it. So it's incredible what they could do. But again, that was this is a what do you call it? An exclusive, sorry. From Smoky Mountain Knife Works. And this one here is a prototype. It's totally unmarked that I bought from Dirk at some point. Carried that today. I love that knife. That got some use. I was packaging and sending stuff off today. Oh, also, if Jay Demeter, if you are watching, Jay Demeter, you won a knife here a few weeks back and you still haven't sent me your address. So Jay Demeter, give me your address. And then this right here, all you got to do is #knife in the comments. And we're going to do a giveaway of this at 11 o'clock. Jim is going to keep me honest, as he always does. This thing is beautiful. Let me take a second to show this off in the middle of this pocket check, just so you know what you're #knifing. But this is part carbon fiber. This is Willemsen Blade Works. This is Mikkel Willemsen. He's a Danish, Copenhagen, Denmark. Yeah, he's a Danish knife designer, and he's got a whole urban tactical vibe and line. I believe that's how he defines his style, urban tactical. And this one here has carbon fiber on top, and then this is beautifully knurled steel, and it's very comfortable in hand. You got a beautiful clip and awesome action. Gorgeous blade. This is D2 blade steel, 3.6 inches. I don't know what you'd call that. Modified drop point, I guess. You got the opening hole with the Spidey flick and the whole 9 yards. Comes in this beautiful zipper pouch, and this comes to me courtesy of Dave, OG Blade Reviews. Dave gave us this to give to you. So he is passing along the wealth so generously. Thank you so much, Dave. In doing so, he is like a patron here and one of our greatest, and I appreciate you, Dave. So we're going to be giving this away tonight. #knife in the comments, and this could be yours. It is really, really sweet. I'm not sure which manufacturer has made it, but it's a good one. It's a good one. It feels the way it's made. It's super solid, nice and light, and it has great action. Sorry about that. All right, onward. So to remedy this upswept blade, I had this on me. Actually, that wasn't a purposeful choice. It's just been difficult to kick this one out of my pocket. This is the new run of the Venom Jack from Jack Wolf Knives, but this one is in that dark wash S90V blade with a beautiful dark washed titanium, triple fluted this time on the elongated front bolster, double fluted on the back bolster, and that's one more flute on both sides than the original. This has that dark matter red carbon fiber and an incredible action. I mean, this is one of the stiffest, I'd say. Jack Wolf Knives. Stiff is usually a bad term. Well, oftentimes it's bad when it's used for your back or other things, but there are a few other things where stiff is very good, especially as you get older. You'll learn that stiff is very good. And here it's very good on this beautiful slip joint. So had this on me and also used that for uh, precision cutting. When I used for hacking up packing material. This one I used for trimming and making the boxes neat. I like the boxes to look nice when I send them out. All right, next up on me, one of my most carried knives of the summer, the Agent 001 in cross draw on the front so that it is accessible with my right hand primarily in the reverse grip. That's how this was designed. I mean, that's what I was thinking when I sent this design to Tim. I was thinking that I was going to use it exactly like I use his Night Stalker, which I love. One of my favorite knives to carry. And that's what this was kind of modeled after. Well, excuse me, it was modeled after the Loveless Subhilt Fighter in terms of the blade, but the back end, I wanted it to be as long as the Night Stalker and have that same easy gripability without a ring. And this is what we landed on. So I sent him a design that was pretty cool looking, but probably didn't feel very good, and he made the tweaks. And oh man, I've been so happy with this knife and happy to see other people happily carrying theirs. Oh, happy. So much joy, just joy. Joy is just oozing out of this knife. It's the joy campaign right here. Right here. Lastly, in my campaign of joy today was my emotional support knife. My ESK today was the Clip Point XL Voyager. I did not have this on my person. Oftentimes, I will choose a large, ridiculous ESK. Today was not ridiculous. Like last week's ESK was a large kukri that Dave just gave me. But today's was this manageable, though I did not have it on me. I have a bag with me and a desk and, a locking doors and stuff like that. So I had this with me, but not on me. And I love this knife. It ends up, when I emptied my bag, I had a whole bunch of other stuff, but I wasn't accounting for that. So this is where I'll end my list of stuff I had on me. Maybe I'll show you in a minute some of the other stuff I had with me, but what a great knife. Forgive me, but someone who was just watching just commented that they were carrying this today. So let me just say to you, sir, who I can't remember who you were, but I do know that you have a great mind because great minds think alike. Am I right? So here, and cheers. Let us delicately touch the tips of our. Did you ever see Role Models? Such a great movie. One of my favorite movies. One of my favorite, flipping the channels and I see that and I cannot not watch that when that's on. So Role Models, if you haven't seen it, highly recommend it. It was before everyone got uptight. It was made in the 2000s, but before everyone lost their sense of humor. Very good movie and somewhat bawdy. All right, let me just show this off again real quick as I queue up the next feature. This here is going to be what we're giving away tonight in about 20 minutes or so. I think it's beautiful. It's a Wilhelmsen from Denmark. It's Wilhelmsen Copenhagen, and designed by Mikkel Wilhelmsen, who has defined his style as urban tactical to the point where this knurled steel surface reminds me of some of the surfaces you walk on subways in various cities and that kind of thing. It's a really cool knife and kind of pretty to look at. And if you know Mikkel Wilhelmsen's knives at all, and I mean, I've been following him for a long time. This has my favorite handle to blade ratio of his commonly known stuff. So I like that knife all around, and it could be yours for the low price of a hashtag knife in the comments. This is just a random giveaway open to anyone. However, for September, the Gentleman Junkie knife giveaway is super extra special. And we're going to show this right here. This comes to me courtesy from Mike of Northern Knives. Mike is here watching tonight. and he has commented a few times. And this is a collaboration. I almost want to take my wedding ring off to handle this. This is a collaboration with Paul Munko and his Colorful Filth company. He is a true artist extraordinaire. Not only has he designed some outstanding knives like this, my favorite of his designs, the Kaiser Mystic, but he does this really cool other EDC kind of stuff. And here is the anodization of a sort of 50,000 Leagues Under the Sea type scene, except different. You see a great white shark there. You see a giant squid and a dude in the middle with a big diving bell on his head. And you see a shark lurking in the background behind the pivot. This is all anodized on this beautiful titanium. I mean, this high voltage green is insane. It's a gradation from an indigo to a sort of green, copper green there. And then you flip open the blade and you've got a blue Cerakoted blade with bubbles. Very cool. That continues up onto the thumb stud. And then on the other side, look at this. Geez, you got a whole vista, a whole underwater. Let me close this because I will cut myself otherwise. You have a whole underwater scene here. It's like the Marianas Trench here. Some deep underwater trench. You got some, what are these here? You got some critters floating up and you got some sort of a diving bell. But this is all so detailed and look at that beauty. Actually, hey, Jim, would you remind moving that lower third for a quick second? Yeah, look at that. Thank you, sir. Look at how beautiful that looks. So we're deep in this underwater trench looking up at our only hope for saving us. And it's that janky looking old sort of steampunk submarine. I don't know, man. And then on this side, we're about to get devoured by a shark or eaten by and strangled by a squid. It's really cool. I'm not sure that the camera is doing this one much of a favor. Let's see. Can you see that gradation from blue to green? It's a very nice green on this side. And right around the shark's mouth, it switches. Man alive, is it gorgeous? So this could be yours if you're a gentleman junkie. That is our top tier of support over there at Patreon. You go to TheKnifeJunkie.com/Patreon and check that out. Jim also sometimes floats a QR code on screen. You can zap that with your phone and go over there. You also get interview extras and a bunch of other stuff. I'll send you a coaster and some stickers and such. But really, this is the main attraction. Look at what you could win. Some months we have these amazing giveaways because amazingly generous people like Mike send these over to me to give to you. So do take advantage of that. I mean, this is a one-of-a-kind 80-20.5. You will notice that it does not have holes for screws in there. You do have the pocket clip in here, but this beauty you're going to want to keep in some sort of a leather slip. I mean, you can have it machined to carry, but you're not going to want to have this coming in and out of the pocket for too long. You're going to want to have this in some sort of a leather slip. Keep it pristine as long as possible because that is some beautiful artwork. So that's what we're giving away on the 19th of September. By the way, extraordinary action. Extraordinary. I'm going to say that. I'm going to say extraordinary and terrific. That's terrific. That's my Hollywood producer word. That's terrific. Your script is terrific. Why don't you come by the bungalow tonight and we can talk about it? It's terrific. That's that word. All right. Let's see. I want to show you this. That's right. Before we get to some other stuff like giving away the knife, don't forget #knife. #knife to win this Williamson Copenhagen tactical folder that is just oh so sweet. And by the way, super ergonomic, feels great in hand. What a useful, beautiful blade, drop point, modified centerline tip. Nice knife. Thank you, Dave. But check this out. Speaking of nice knives, now this is something I got as I don't want to call it a throwaway because it's certainly not a throwaway, but I wanted to get one of these inexpensive Fred Perrin knives. They're made in France by Max Knives, and they're pretty inexpensive. I have one on the back of my work ID. It's this tiny little thing, and it's awesome. So I wanted to get this dagger. James Hart says, I also have the Raja 2, fits in my pocket. I really like the kukri blade shape. I switched this out for the Voyager. Very nice. Yeah, I like that kukri shape. That's a heavy knife, though. Will B says, the reason I carry the amphibian is the slimish full profile. I feel very comfortable using it and being able to deploy it quickly. And it's 4-inch recurve. My other carry is the Microtech Hera 2. Yeah, both sweet for sure. Though I've only experienced the Hera at Blade Show. I've never carried it. Mark Salva, spew always on my neck under my shirt. So the spew is a Alan Foltz design. It's like the second most famous Alan Foltz. You know, he's the guy who made the Minimalist. And the spew is a Warncliffe with a slightly larger handle, and it's a cool one with the brown handle. Pardon me for all the belching. This adder bites. Nice to have you here, this adder. Any love for the Spartan Harzy folder 4? Yes, sir. Yes, I have a major love for it. Mine is right over there, and mine is special to me because I have my logo engraved on it. But I do love that knife. I have flirted with having it reground by a trusted regrinder to a very thin hollow grind, you know, because I'm such a cutting specialist and I need highly accelerated cutting. Not really, but I've always thought about that and then thought like, you need to? How often do you carry it? Which is, I wouldn't say terrifically often anymore. And, you know, how much do you cut with it? And I would say not that much. And have you ever been in a position with that knife where you were like, gosh, if this were hollow ground, I'd be through with this chore like so much sooner. And I was like, no. So I keep saying no. But anyway, I have a massive love for that knife. And Bill Harzy Jr. in general is one of my favorite designers, definitely in the top 5 for me. So yeah, massive love. Pete Davidson says, wave openers are a must-have for me. I love them too. I don't know why more knives don't have them. Okay, let me show you this, Pete. So I just got this. I was going to show you this. La Dag. This is a Fred Perrin knife. I wrapped it in jute there. Ouchie EDC, nice to have you here, sir. Howdy, he says. But you see where these red marks are? I'm going to take my Dremel and just scoop away little curved scoops here, but with an upward termination so that in the pocket, because this fits in all of my pockets, super flat, you can't really detect it, but you can reach in, certainly unsheath it, especially if you can snag it on the side of the pocket with a little hook on the side. At first I was like, oh, I'll fashion a hook and screw it in. I was like, wait a sec, I can just kind of grind the sheath a little bit and have a hook and then boom, pull it out. And this thing, by the way, 440C. Oh, I can't work with 440C. But it's really sharp. And for the kind of work you're going to do with this, it's perfect. I love the jute wrap I did, if I do say so myself. Sometimes I'm happier than other times with it. I think it turned out great here. Very uncomfortable handle unless you do something with this. This is a great, this was like a $30 knife, $34 knife. Came super sharp. The grind is excellent. Like I said, inexpensive, made in France. This is a great knife in particular because it's got like 5 holes in it in the handle. Great one if you're interested in buying a great blade and then putting a handle on it, whether you're going to get micarta or G10 or just wrap it like this or do something else. It's in essence a great blade blank with an excellent edge on it already to go with a sheath and everything. So this is a good project knife. I guess is what I'm saying. And that great coffin handle is so much more comfortable with the wrap because the edges are not really chamfered. It's way nicer with that. So I'm going to, like I said, do a little dremeling on the corners here, so I have an upward scoop on the edge and on the ends, I mean. And I think this will be a certain type of pocket carry for certain occasions. Yeah, very excited about it. Oh, nice to have you here. We have Niche Designs here with us. We have Nick. Howdy. Hey, Bob and Jim. Good to have you here, man. Nick has been making some beautiful handmade knives recently that, I mean, he's been doing it for a long time, but I guess posting in the last couple of months a lot, and nice looking stuff. Let's see. Most carried as of late. I like this. You're a Strider fan. The Strider SNG in Magna Cut. BTW, what's that? BTW. K390 is analogous. Oh, okay, I got you. K390 is analogous to 10V, essentially. Carbon steel, high vanadium content, high wear resistance, good toughness. What's BTW? Tell me what that is. All right, we have 70 watching and 48 entries. And to the rest of you who have not entered, the 22 of you who have not, is it 22? Yeah, who have not entered, I would have to say this. If this knife is not your thing, I will have you know it is in perfect condition, because every knife that Dave sends is in absolutely like new condition. So you could also give this away with its very nice pouch. That's Velcro, so you don't even say, you could take that off, but you could give this away as a very nice gift. So we have 70. Your chances are good. So if you're there and you're kind of on the fence, just put your name in there, or don't put your name in there. Just put #knife in the comments. Win this knife, get it, fall in love with it, keep it unexpectedly, or sell it. I'm not saying sell it. I'm saying give it away. Give it to someone who needs a knife. Yeah, I know this is a good one. And it might be a good crossover knife, because it could look kind of GRR, like aggressive, but it's also just a great EDC. Loser, nice to have you here, Lou. Usually carry my mini Roach. Oh yeah, that's a nice knife. That's got the removable flipper tab, right? But lately, been carrying my Walmart Ozark trail knives for poops and giggles. Hey, it's good to stay humble sometimes. Yeah. But I'm sorry, Jim, go back to that, please. I missed what he. Oh, anyway, ... Okay, cool. Yeah, loser. I love slumming it sometimes with my Ozark trails. What can I say? Over Under Pull says anything TKL, but looking forward to the 007 with Tactical Tavern. Yeah, that one looks nice. The very aggressive Tonto looks very cool. And also the clip point, I think that's the 005 or 6. I'm not sure which one that is, but I like the look of that clip point too. And then the one the 3, I guess, with the Night Stalker blade, that looks awesome. EDC and Lace, nice to have you here, EDC and Lace. Hello, people, she says. Well, hello to you. What are you carrying? Let us know. Oh, speaking of which, did I get through? Yeah, I got all the way through. James Hart says, I do prefer my Raja 2, what with the thumb plate pocket opener, and it does fit my pocket, mostly for self-defense. So back in the day when Nut and Fancy would go to this knife shop in Salt Lake City, I think. I'll remember the name in a minute, but the knife maker there had an assistant who would carry a Raja too, and he put these giant serrations in it, and it was a terrifying looking folder, man. Compact is goat level Swiss Army knife, says Adderbites. Says this Adderbites. I would agree with you. I took mine out tonight. Sometimes I'll pull it out before I'll even grab a Phillips, and I'm in a room with many of my tools right there, and I'll just grab that compact because I love all the tools on it. James Moore, nice to have you here, James. Happy Thursday Night Knives, Jim, Bob, et al. Well, hey, let me know what you were carrying, James, because it's always sweet, and not too many people comment at all. So just like your carry. I like your language, sir. Ray Herman, nice to have you here, Ray. I love carrying my off-grid Red Dawn Edition Bowie, folding knife, also very fidgety. Oh, you're talking about the Cayman. The Cayman XL came in that Red Dawn edition. That's a sweet one. Also, Jay Demeter, are you here? Jay Demeter, if you are here and you are watching, Jay Demeter, you won a knife like several weeks back and never sent me your address. It's kind of sitting on my desk collecting dust. I'd love to get it to you. It is your knife. So let me know what your address is. Adrian Fighter 35. Nice to have you here, Adrian. Hello, knife fans, he says. Hello. I like your Homer. Ginger Fisher 75. Evening, people. Well, evening to you, Ginger Fisher. That canine looks adorable. We have Craig saying, in the past 10 days, I picked up a cold steel Western Bowie, a sleaze copy. A Psycho. How do you say this? Psycho. I'll say this is the knife he's talking about. Such a cool knife. Cisco copy of it, and one of unknown origin. I also got the San Mai Mag Tonto and Fixie patch knife. They have a patch knife, a Mora 2 Swiss Tax and 2 budget folders. So they have a patch knife, Fixie patch knife. I know that's the kind of knife like hobos and other people, or not hobos, but what do you call it? Like riflemen, people who cut patches for their muskets, right? Little patch knife with little blade. Let me know what that is. But also this, and how's the Cisco version of this? And then you know who else makes one like this that I'd like to try is Barron Sons, and they're right in Alabama. So I keep meaning to give them a try. Scotch and Things, nice to have you here, Scotch and Things. He's also got a really awesome collection from what I can ascertain from his Instagram. Scotch and Things says, most carried Strider XL. See what I mean? Nice choice. Sword XXXY. Nice to have you here, Sword. Fred Perrin Le Griff. So Fred Perrin, the designer of this dagger I was just talking about, Ladak. The Le Griff is the one that's got the little finger hole, and then there are a variety of blade designs that go with that can be a Le Griff. Let's see. Lion Steel recently put this is from Dave saying Lion Steel recently put up something on Instagram stating why it's not always correct to harden steels to the maximum when you're also going for toughness and lack of edge chipping, etc., edge geometry, or when you're a giant company and you're heat treating huge batches. I also get that. You might not want to take it so far. Also, for the toughness thing, with the Lion Steel, we're talking about. Oh, no. We were talking about the S35. I was going to say, oftentimes with Lion Steel, we're talking about fixed blades for camping. You want them tough. You probably don't want that super, super high hardness. But we were talking about the Recon 1, in which case it's not as much, toughness is not as much of an issue. So you might want to take it up a little bit higher for a folder. Adrian says, most carried blade for me is the Voyager Vaquero serrated and my double agent Bowie neck knife. That thing is great for shredding plant material. Hey, Jim, will you go to this while I get mine? I just want to show him what I just did with it. I just did something with mine. Let me show Loudon. Wait, hang on. Oh, London calling. I thought you said Loudon calling. Like, no, we don't do that here. So wait, this is my double agent. I just did a wrap on this one too because I found the handle in the middle was always just a little bit too small. And someday I might grind away one of the two rings because I can do one or the other. And probably I'll get rid of the front ring just because I've done some karambit training. I've never really trained with a 4-finger ring. And I don't see why you kind of need it on this one. But anyway, putting that extra girth on this portion of the handle makes it easier for my size hands to make a full fist on that knife. James says, Bob, how could you rock the Casbah on London Calling? Come on, what did I say? What did I say? Isn't it on London Calling? What's it on? I was always more into the Damned and the Sex Pistols more than the Clash. So what London Calling, isn't that on there? What's it on? Oh, you're such a rube. Tell me what it is, man. Don't leave me hanging like a fool. Gus Beck, nice to have you here, Gus. Evening, Bob. My current most carried is the Strider SNG. Good man. Previously, it was the Spartan Harzy Folder, Warthog Edition. Okay, so Gus, kind of knives in the same. Well, they're on the same shelf. They're like 2 knives away in my category, in my collection. I love them both, and I love how sturdy they both are. Though for me, the Spartan Harzy wins out over the Strider. And before it was the Hinderer Project X. My God, nice, man. The Project X is that beautiful Bowie. I always kind of wanted it, but I've never gotten around to getting it. I guess it hasn't always been easy to get, and it has never been inexpensive. That's for sure. Robert Von Dar says K390 sounds like a great sword steel. Oh, yeah. If not a super spendy sword steel. Pete says, the speed reholstering isn't for any reason other than pocket knives are frowned. Oh, right. Of course. Of course. I'm a chef and refuse to use my chef knives for cutting plastic, cardboard, etc. That's interesting, man. That's so okay. That is so ridiculous. That is so ridiculous, especially in a country like yours that is founded on like rugged individualism, like our country, and is increasingly more and more gelded, which is so, it's so disheartening. The fact that you have to rush a pocket knife in because you're breaking down a box. Give me a break, people. You see, in England, they're throwing you in the pen. They're throwing you in the pen for saying mean stuff on the internet. It's out. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. Can't let this happen. Frankie Frank says, I EDC Marshall blade strictly for self-defense or if I ever need to slice some fruits. Well, that's the thing. Like, me too. I carry a lot of knives for self-defense, or at least I would use them in those cases. But the fact is, I just love self-defense knives. I love combative knives. I love combat knives. I love self-defense knives. I love little stash away fighting knives. I like weapony knives. Here's an example. When I was a little kid, my grandmother asked me, I knew all 4 of my grandparents. They were all amazing, awesome people. This is probably my most proper grandparent asked me, so Bobby, what would you like for Christmas? And in my mind, I got this flood. I was like, okay, here's my opportunity. I want a BB gun. I want a knife. I want a toy sword. I know they won't get me a real sword. I want a toy machine gun. I know they won't get me a real machine gun. I want, and it was flooding in my mind so fast that all I said was killing toys, Grandma. Just get me killing toys. She's like, what have you done to my grandson? Killing toys was my short answer for I like weapons. They just they resonate with me, as they say. And so I'm apt to carry a weapony knife for the cutting of the sandwich or for the cutting of the string off of the collar. I'm not a tactical dude living a tactical life, but I like those kind of knives. So sue me. Pete Davidson says, I can wave around my 10-inch chef knife all day at work, but as soon as the spider comes out, you're a weirdo. That's messed up, man. That is so messed up. How about this? Are you a weirdo when you flip this open? Tier 1's scythe. Doug Bowl says, Bob, most people don't realize that in a self-defense situation causing death, the firearm is always confiscated and may not be returned. Yeah, that's always what I assumed until the case is closed, or I was just assuming ever. Same goes for knives. Yeah, I think, that would be the worst. The worst part is having some like awesome, beautiful custom knife and then using it to defend yourself and then having to handed over, only for it to end up in an evidence room or actually probably on someone's shelf somewhere. And that's not to besmirch the character of law enforcement. It's just kind of just like somewhere along the line, that knife is gonna be a temptation to someone. Uh, so yeah, and do you want the knife back that you killed someone with, or that you defend? That might be a reminder of something dark. I mean, I speak about all this stuff as someone who's never had to defend his life. Knock on wood. Seriously, knocking on wood here. But I have no doubt it comes with its emotional trauma and stuff. It shouldn't be taken lightly, though. That's not why we're here. We're not here to get into emotional trauma. Hey Bob, what's your opinion on the Winkler belt knife? What a piece of junk. I'm just kidding. I want one so badly. It's not in my cards currently because I have a long list and it's there. But I have been loaned. First of all, I love the profile of the belt knife. I love the way it looks. I've held one just at the booth at Blade Show, but I was loaned a crusher. Is that what they call it? A slightly larger Winkler knife for the belt that has a slightly different blade. Is more of a drop point than that long clip point. And it had the handle that you could stash stuff inside of if you move one of the scales over to the side. And it was awesome. I love Winkler knives in general, and I think Daniel Winkler is a really interesting and stand-up dude. I did an interview with him you might be interested in. But he started off as a Revolutionary War reenactor. And he was making stuff for his own kit and for people around him, and discovered that he had a real knack for making and designing and making knives. And being in Boone, North Carolina, and being close to kind of where special forces are, and where they get I guess that's Fort Bragg, kind of close-ish there. Is he in Boone? I think he's in Boone. But so being kind of close there, he got a following from Navy SEALs getting this stuff. And I think, and other special warfare people, I think is really cool because his knives all look kind of like Revolutionary War era. They all kind of look somewhat primitive, and they're beautiful, really well made. But I love that they have this really old school vibe, feel, design, and materials, including wood handles, but that people like our most modern warriors, who are given some of the most high-tech equipment to fight, to do their missions with, come back to these very old school knives made by a Revolutionary War reenactor. I think that is super cool. And also his Kydex sheaths are like lined with felt, so you can slip it in there and pull it out real quietly if you're coming up behind someone, a sentry. If you're doing sentry removal with your knife, you can slides out real quietly. You don't get that sound. You don't get that after you take out the sentry. It's nice and all right. Okay, so let's do this. We're at almost 10. We're 9 minutes after the hour. It is what it is. If however many people have at this point put hashtag knife in the comments, well, that's how many will be in the running. So let's do this here. And I got to show you this. I know we all have tons of cases. This one happens to be sort of especially nice. It feels especially nice. Not that that's gonna get another hashtag knife in the comments, but just so you know, it's not like other knives. It's not like other knife pouches. It's different. All right. Pardon me. Let's do this in 3, 2. Oh, we have 52 entries. 53. Very nice. And 1. All right. It's always interesting to see how it slows down. It's a computer. It doesn't need to do that, but it's going to do it. Knives Are Life. You are the winner. I have not seen your name here. I love it. Knives Are Life is true. And Knives Are Life is one knife richer on this very evening. And that is this. You're getting this, man. This is your Williamson, Copenhagen. Flipper, cool flipper. Send me your thanks to me and but most importantly, Dave of this of OG Blade Reviews. Thank you, Dave, for this. And we will get this off to you, sir. I'm going to write your name down so I don't forget. But listen up here, if you would, please. Jim, can you put his name back up? So, Knives Are Life. Knives Are Life. Please don't forget, TheKnifeJunkie at gmail.com. Send me your address. And if Jay Demeter, if you are watching, send me your address. You won a knife a couple of weeks ago, and soon I'm just going to give it to one of my coworkers because it's right there. No, I'm just kidding. I will wait. I'll wait for you, Jay. I'll wait for you, Jay Demeter. Just send me your damn address and let me get rid of this knife. It's very cool. It's the Civivi with the extra lanyard on it. You will like it. All right. Knives for Life. This is yours. I'm putting it over here. I will send it post haste, maybe even tomorrow. Joseph S. Carrying my new mini CQC 15. Love the CQC 15. I got yesterday from Emerson HQ, so straight from the source. That's a good way of doing it. Will B says Hinderer XM24 Battlefield Pickup Sponto. Microtech Amphibian, as he mentioned before. Microtech Ramlock Stitch, another great one. Microtech Hera 2, Bastinelli Red V2. Olight Warrior Nano, and Heretic. That's right, Thoth. The Thoth pen. I hear it's really great, but it also sounds like you Thoth. Like you're trying to say sauce. I love the Thoth. It's so good. But something funny. You're carrying fewer knives than usual, I find. So I hope everything's all right, sir. Let me know. Is that a cry for help when you dip below 10 knives? Sometimes you got to wonder. Frankie Frank says, by the way, thanks to you, Bob, I ordered the tie light. It's on its way. Oh, I am loving this. Well, it's funny you say thanks to you because thanks to Tomas, I got this. So we're all inspired by different things, but I have been loving this thing. And I love, I'm always talking about how the bigger knives, when you look at knife series that have small, medium, large, or small and large, it's always the large ones that look the best because you get the most space to stretch out your arms and stretch out the design and really make it, it's like a 12-cylinder sports car. It's just, look at it, like a Ferrari Daytona. It's got that nice long hood with all that engine underneath it. And, and I love little small, I love 911s. I love a Porsche 911, little tiny, great handling and everything, but it's a different look. It's like a truncated look. That nice long look, you get that from the tie light. This is sort of your Ferrari Daytona of the cold steel large blades. Let's say we'll go that far. OG Blade says today's carry the Vosteed Mink XL Fixie. Yeah, I saw that. What do you think of that one? I'm sure you like it, or you probably wouldn't be carrying it, but unless you're reviewing it for them. The Concept Have Worn in Damascus. I'm not sure what that one is. And Thai Arctic Storm. Sounds lovely. Vosteed Thunderbird Button Lock. Always thought that was cool. In LMAX and Ultim, the Pinkerton Standoff. Oh, love the standoff. Where's my standoff? I have my standoff right here. The Benchmade Bedlam Auto, the Best Tech Keen 2. Oh, God. Okay, so Dave, you got to check out Dave's channel, OG Blade Reviews. His collection is just disgustingly good. When he was talking about the standoff, this is the standoff from Artisan Blades, designed by Dirk Pinkerton, and he's the guy who designed what I was carrying in my front pocket today. He is such a great designer. If you have any interest in historical blades or ethnographic blades, but you like seeing them in a modern context, whether it's these knife designs that he licensed to some of the best manufacturers out there, or it's a custom blade that he's grinding himself masterfully, much to the envy of his peers, on his own grinder, you got to check out Dirk Pinkerton. You will love him. Angry Tom says, today I have my Winkler belt knife. Okay, so the gentleman who was asking about the belt knife, ask Angry Tom. Winkler belt knife, and of course my Case Sodbuster 6.5 bone stag. Or Tom, was it you who said, no, I'm just getting wrapped around the axle. Burnt toast. Nice to have you here, Burnt Toast. Today I had the LT Wright Packer. That reminds me. The Lion Steel Best Man. Oh, okay, Best Man. That's a slip joint. Cold Steel Drop Forge boot knife, very nice, and the Protect Godson. Okay, so the LT Wright Packer. I don't know what that knife is, but the word Packer made me think of. I had some good friends who had an edit studio in Manhattan, and then they built a new one, and they were moving, and I was helping them move because they had a company move all of their high tech equipment, but they had a whole bunch of other crap to move, and to save costs, I was helping them, and so were some other people that worked there. And at one point, they were like, "Hey Bob, did you pack all the beta tapes?" This was back then, and I said, "Oh yeah, yeah." And don't worry, I got them all in that box. I'm a real anal packer, and of course, and I work with these guys every day, and I never lived that down. I just meant anal retentive, like I really like to pack things and get everything orthogonal and on a grid and nicely packed away. But I just used anal as my sort of shortcut to get there, and it was the wrong crowd. So yeah, anal packer, that never went away. Pete Davidson says, Bob, just get a police with K390. Just do it, Bob. Just stop and just do it. They are so good for the money. DH Custom Knives from Ukraine makes great scales for them. Oh, nice. In G10, micarta or carbon fiber. Add an aftermarket wave opener and you've got a mean frog sticker. No kidding. Oh, Pete, it's funny you should say frog sticker. Today, I was thinking about frog gigging. I was like, I should try it. I should try to spear a frog, make a little frog gig, and then spear it and cook it up over a fire and see what it's like. Totally gratuitous. I don't need to do that. So is that bad? Would I feel bad about killing that frog for no reason? I might, but then I'd eat it and I'd feel better about it. But also, I'm also assuming that it's as easy as it looks on YouTube. But yeah, I don't know why that popped into my head today. But I was like, yeah, I should stick a frog in, because I love frog legs. I love snails. I love anything the way the French do it with butter and garlic, like frog legs, French frog legs, or French, what do they call it? Escargot. Oh my God, it's so good. And I was like, I could do that. I can melt butter and garlic. So all I got to do is go gig me a frog. Will B says, I got to meet Ben Belkin and handle some of the Jack Wolf knives on Saturday. Ben is awesome. How cool, Will? Yeah, he's a great dude. He's a quality mensch. Was that at an Ohio knife show? Just curious. Jacob Green says, I went hiking in the mountainous nature of Southern California. That sounds beautiful, Jacob. I'm slightly jealous. For my birthday today, happy birthday to you, sir. A Virgo. We have a Virgo. I was carrying a Mora 511 stainless and an Ontario Rat 1 in D2. Very nice choices. Probably useless against the rattlesnake I saw. Maybe, or since we're talking about eating strange things, I hear rattlesnake is very good. Never eaten it. But if you could, use your Mora 511 to fashion a slingshot or some sort of a projectile weapon and then kill the snake and then use the rat one to sort of skin it, you got yourself a YouTube video, bro. Apex Alchemy says the Agent 001 looks great, bro. Well, thank you so much, Apex. I appreciate that, Billy. Tim Kell knows how to build a damn knife. I'll tell you that. That is for damn sure. And he's also a great guy, and his family's cool. For what that's worth. Adrian says, hey, I just got an XL Voyager clip point yesterday. I love it. Yes. Where is it? Yes. These things are so awesome. OS 10? Yeah, OS 10A, which is better than OS 8. And their OS 8 was great. But yeah, what a great knife, and all the ways you can hold it way back here. I mean, you essentially have a 7-inch or longer. Let's see. If you hold it back here, that's the cool thing about here. Let me do it under here. That's the cool thing about these handles. You have your standard grip here. You have your choked up grip here. Instead of a choil, you have that platform. That platform is an amazing finger guard, like, because that choil is so deep and that extends so far down. You can stab all day long or thrust all day long, and your finger's not going to ride up on there. But you can also come back here into these grooves here, and then if you're like Lynn Thompson, you'll even hold it back here. I don't know. To me, this feels tenuous, but if you've ever shaken his hand, they're like gorilla hands. So I'm sure he has no problem gripping onto this and not losing it. But I wouldn't trust my grip like this. But anyway, yeah. So if you come all the way back here, that 5.5-inch blade turns into an 8-inch blade, 8.25-inch blade. Or 8.25-inch reach. You don't have blade here. That's about 3 inches, but still pretty impressive. These things are awesome and somewhat inexpensive. I mean, they're under $100, and that's a nice chunk of steel. And if you like those big knives but want something fancier, you can get something like this. You have a clip point blade, but you have the fancy shiny bolsters. You have the contoured G10, and you've got S35VN, which is a better steel than AUS 10. But for my purposes and for my usage, I can't tell the difference. I'm being honest. I'm trusting that they're giving me a better steel, and I'm trusting that it's worth the extra cost. And that's what a lot of us do when we're collectors and not necessarily hardcore users. I got so many knives, and sometimes it gives me a bit of anxiety knowing that they're not living their best life. They're not living their best life. I sound like a cat lady who's got like 72 cats in a small Rambler. They're not living their best life, but they're mine, and I love them, and I'm all they know. But there's a lot of potential here. That said, I got to make a list. And so that if I buy the farm in an untimely way, my wife isn't like, God damn, now I gotta go through all this, figure out how. Yeah, I don't want her to have to go through that. James says, you are right. Oh, let's just stop right there. I love it, James. Let's just stop right there and call my wife down here. I love the Cold Steel Voyager Clip Point XL, but I also love the Raja 2 and the Espada XL. Yeah, with the G10 handle. Yeah, and it's huge, but I have a pair of pants with deep enough pockets for it. So you're talking about this one, the Giant XL 7.5-inch bladed version, but with the not with the aluminum bolsters and contoured polished G10, but the traction G10. It's a little bit thinner and lighter, and I have those also in AUS 8. This is in AUS 8. Those are in AUS 8. Also the hollow ground. I have the older ones. So yeah, that one is not that hard to carry, and the one that you're talking about with just the G10 handles, I think that would make an outstanding backpacking knife, because it only takes up 8.5 inches. It slides next to your crap on the inside of your backpack, on the right where the zipper is going to go. It's going to slide in there next to all your stuff. But what you have, if you have the one that's less fancy, you have a very capable. Open this up, and you have 13 inches. If you're holding it back here, you've got 13-inch reach for clearing brush, for whatever kind of like campy chores you would use a machete for. This would be great for, because it's thin, it's sharp, especially this with the hollow grind. I wouldn't do much more beyond machete work with this knife, but you have other knives too. Loser says, colorful filth sounds like a nice blend of artistic and profane. Yes, indeed. He's a cool dude. Yeah, he's a very smart guy, and designing knives obviously isn't the only thing he does. Craig Vincent says, today was the serrated Kobun. Love the Kobun. The 8010, the SR1 Light Tonto, the Blue Frenzy 2. Thank you for stipulating. I know last week I asked you, is the Frenzy 2 the blue or the white or the green? Airlight Drop Point, 80-20.5, Rat 1, New Breed Clydesdale. What's that? What is that? The Kaiser Phoenix, Imperial Peanut. I love a peanut knife. Perrin Ladakh on the neck carried. So he's carrying this. Craig Vincent's carrying this on the neck. It is so thin. It's very light. I could see carrying this on the neck. But this for me is going to make a great in pocket. In pocket, no cordage, no clip, no nothing. Just two little hooks carved into either end, and it'll be awesome. Split and Slices says diving bell and critters. Perfect. He's talking about the colorful filth knife right here. Will go great with the mermaid. Oh, the mermaid knife. All right, just you know what? Now that I've had this out and I've shown you, I'm putting this away. I got enough on here that could scratch this potentially, and I definitely do not want that to happen. That is for dang sure. All right, so you've all seen it. It's going back in its little capsule. Will B says, one of my 2.5-year-old twins, oh, that's awesome, was totally captivated by that colorful filth Demco. Good boy or girl. I'm not going to make assumptions. I told her, I'm glad I didn't make assumptions. I told her she could have it if I win, just not right away. Will be that warms the cockles of my heart, sir. You know, I'm a father of daughters, and they are awesome. And there's nothing like when they show preference for knives. I've gotten my girls both knives. Tonight, as I was tucking in my younger daughter, she's almost 10. I got her a little out the front from Cobra Tech at Blade Show, and she's got it stashed between her bed frame and her mattress. I was like, oh, what a good girl. Loser says, I never thought I'd say this, but I'd like to win some filth. Oh my God, isn't this the greatest knife you've ever seen? No, I mean, this thing is really, really special and very generous. And I want to thank Mike again. Perrin has so many good designs, says Bill Bobby. Bill Bobby, nice to have you here, sir. Yes, he does. Oh God, this burns me up now that I think about it. I used to have that Cold Steel. He made one for Cold Steel, like the Counter Tack, or I don't know. You know how they all have those names, but it had the hole in it, and it had a Wharncliffe blade with serrations and a little handle. And I gave that away to someone, and they never carried it, and can't ask for it back. Also, the CRKT Ritual, if not mistaken, says "Have a nice day." Oh, he's talking about Alan Foltz. Yes, he did design the Ritual. That's that almost comedically upswept Persian that is so beautiful with the white micarta and the blue bolsters that CRKT came out with a few years ago. Craig Vincent, I love my Ladakh. So simple. Yes, sir. I would recommend, or not recommend, I'm not sure if you're into it, but if you like this sort of jute wrap, it's welcome on the edges here. And it doesn't give you too much extra width. Like in other words, if you do this, put that jute wrap around it, put some shellac on it, light it on fire. That's what I do. And then wait a day, the smell goes away. And then you have somewhat rough. You can hit it with a light sandpaper and it gets it smooth. And it's nice next to the skin. I mean, for me, this is too big. It's too big a footprint for neck carry, but I've been carrying the primitive Wicket by Knives by Nuge all summer, and it's the same width and with jute cord on it. It is so comfortable. So yeah, I really like that Ladakh, and when I was talking here, this sounds like name dropping. When I was talking with Fred Perrin at Blade Show, which I was, because I'm shameless. I see someone that I'm interested in talking to, I'll go right up to them, and so should you. That's not shameless. It's just they're just knife makers. It's not like you're going up talking to the Pope. So anyway, I was talking to him, and he had this really cool small butterfly knife that I think he made, had a little Wharncliffe blade, and he could like manipulate it, but it was all hidden, and it was so cool how he did it. And I was like, this dude is he's too cool. Bob versus acronyms is always a fun battle. Wait, what? Why? Which one? Oh, spew. EDC and Lace says, my son and daughter have free reign of the sub 150 box. I love that. and just grab what they want. Knives more than $150. They got to talk to me about it first. That is cool. That's a great policy. You know, whatever you set the monetary limit at as they get older. I mean, I want them to take an active interest in this because I don't want to sell every single knife I have, and I'm shamefully so attached sentimentally to a lot of my knives, and I'd rather have them get handed down. You know, I'm like, you got to find a good, solid guy to marry and have children with, so I can give these knives out and be grandpa who's giving out knives. Of course, all in due time, but not too much time, but all in due time, but not too long. Don't wait too long. Pete Davidson says, maybe you could ask your brother for a leather pocket sheath for that, Perrin. I like how you think, Pete Davidson. You're right. Actually, I got to hit him up for some more leather. He's my brother's, man. He's a talented dude. But he's busy like dominating in his line of work to do cool leather stuff for me. So at least his dominating in his line of work allows him to buy me some of the fantastic gifts he gets for me. Oh, that sounded terrible. But Vic, you know what I mean. EDC and Lay says today was just the good old fluted carbon native 5. Oh, I like that. And I've always liked the fluted titanium military. And if they made one of those in a military too, I would probably go for it because I've been flirting with the military too for a long time. But I'm like, I already have a military. I don't carry it that much. With the reorientation of the clip and the compression lock make me carry it a whole lot more? Probably not. So I've just been dragging my feet on that. But if they came out with the fluted titanium military too, I'd probably go for it. Just me. Nice to have you here, Just Me. My most carried is a Norden Knives fixed blade. So that's what's his name from Knife Center, right? Yeah, Norden Knives fixed blade, David C. Anderson. But I don't think they make them anymore or change their name. Maybe in the pocket with an ulti clip. Yeah, Norden Knives is David C. Anderson's company. David C. Anderson. He's the guy from Blade Knife Center that you see, you know, Knives This Week, and he's an awesome dude. He's been on the show a couple of times, and very nice fella, and has Norden Knives. He's a big time camper and loves the outdoor knives, and he had a number of different knives under the Norden line. Some of them I think were made by LT Wright, and some made by someone else. But I think kind of like comes out with runs when he's ready to come out with runs. So hold on to that knife. I have a feeling that's, you know, like the market's not flooded with them. Let's put it that way. So that's a good knife to have. And he's also a cool person, in my opinion, to support. John White, nice to have you here, John. It's all poops and giggles till someone giggles and poops their pants. Yeah, it's true. You get to my age and that whole saying, don't trust a fart, it takes on new meaning. Ginger Fisher says, I'll claim it for Jay. Oh, yeah. All right. If you know Jay, the way you spelled it, maybe I'm like, oh, maybe he knows Jay. Stephen Clayton Jr. says, my Agent 003 with the Night Stalker should arrive tomorrow. Very nice. TKL Knives is opening reservations on September 1st for Agent 1s through 5s, Night Stalkers, Piranhas, Night Guards. Here's something cool about how TKL Knives does it. He only puts up knives for reservation or pre-order, if you will, if he has the steel for the knives. And what that means is he's not going to get in the situation that Survive Knives ran into. Survive Knives, by all accounts, made outstanding knives, but in the business sense, got a little wrapped around the axle, and, you know, kind of had a overcommitted and so kind of went down for that reason. So TKL Knives, their way of not going down that route is pretty interesting to me. He only opens up reservations for his knives once he has the steel in hand and he knows that It's just a matter of time before they can be made, but that he has the resources to actually make them, which seems to me to be a great way of doing things. Donald Fry says, well, if I haven't greeted you, Donald, hello, Donald. Oh, I have not on this evening. Donald, nice to have you here. Hey, Bob and Jim. Late to the party, but got here in time to see the Perrin. Most carried lately is my Spyderco Bodacious and my Bradford Guardian 3. Let me ask you, Donald, I don't know if you have the answer, but how do you compare the Bodacious versus the, what is it, the Shaman? To me, they are definitely like they're like brothers that look similar. Like me and my brother, we're different, but we look similar. People look at us, they're like, oh, you're definitely brothers. You see the Bodacious, it looks a lot to me, maybe not as much in the handle, but it looks a lot to me like a Shaman. So tell me, do you have the Shaman, or what do you think of the Bodacious? Apex Alchemy says Baron Sons, I hear, is outsourcing most of their stuff out from overseas these days. That sucks. I hate to hear that, because I went up to them at Blade Show. And I asked, "Oh, you're made in Alabama," or I guess maybe I said you're based in Alabama. And they said, "Yep." I was like, "Okay." You know what? I gotta say, this is just a general note to anyone who might be interested in selling their stuff at Blade Show. You gotta engage, because there are so many distractions there. If you're not like, if you don't, you might not have the gift of gab, and if you don't, it's a discipline you have to develop, and that's basically a life skill. Like, it's not comfortable. Like I am half introvert, half extrovert, and it took me a long time to be able to like just walk up to people and blah blah blah. But it's part of my job, and it's part of doing this, and it's great. I actually had a friend once who said, if you're wearing a suit, this guy sold suits, so maybe he was a little biased, but he's like, if you're wearing a suit, you can walk up to anyone. You can just walk up to anyone and talk to anyone if you're wearing a suit. And I was like, oh, that's an interesting thought. I never wear a suit, or very infrequently, but I always thought of that. And there are other suits like that that can act as confidence. James Moore says, today's carry was my gun stock from Mitch Clark. Polished Damacor blade, rose gold carbo tie scales, blackened Zerk bolsters. Most carried is my Berger EXK Plus, 3-inch hand rub blade, marbled carbon fiber. Oh man, marbled carbon fiber scales. That first one I'm interested in. I think we once looked that up. The gun stock from Mitch Clark. But always, James Moore always has very exotic materials, but exotic modern materials. We know he doesn't like the natural materials, the woods, the mammoth ivories and such. But hey, to each his own, even if you're wrong. No, I'm just kidding. But mammoth ivory, oh God, I think that stuff is so cool. Matt Chase of Hogtooth Knives just sent me a picture of a knife he made for someone, and he was using camel bone for the handle, but it looked so much like ancient ivory. It was so cool. Matt Hatter says Fred Perrin Street Beat original with black micarta scales. Very nice. So I have the Street Bowie. It's bigger than the Street Beat. I think it's about 5 inches, where the Street Beat's 3.5 or 3.75. Anyway, it was a very well carried knife. I carried it around all the time in pajamas, light stuff, whatever. And I threw it and broke the tip off. And now I just haven't gotten around to reprofiling it. But Frankie Frank says, I got the Double Agent 1, which made me quite lethal, which may be quite lethal in reverse grip. Yeah, no doubt. Is that this one? Wait, is this the 1 or the 2? This is the 2. So the 1 has a Karambity blade. OG Blade Review says there's a video out there. I put there in there. Hang on one second. There's a video with Laren Thompson stating what beats all the other aspects of knife steel, including hardness, is edge geometry. This is constantly rising. I mean, that's constantly it. Like if you don't have good geometry on your knife, and by good geometry, meaning geometry suited for the task and the style of knife. Obviously this is going to have different geometry than say this. James Moore says London Calling is one of the all-time great rock albums. Tons of good songs on it, but Rock the Casbah wasn't one of them. I agree. Oh, that was on Combat Rock. You're right. You're right. Yeah, right. I was never a huge Clash fan, but what was Should I Stay or Should I Go on? That was Combat Rock too. I was in a band that played that, and I always kind of thought, it's a good song. It's a good song. Check this out. Here are two in that Marine Raider line. Mango Badger. Good to have you here, Mango. Most carried NAF's Lander 1 for EDC, Jackwolf Knives Gunslinger for emotional support knife, and Benchmade Mini Presidio 2 for combined security and fidgety goodness. That's a cool knife. That Presidio 2 is one that to me is looks like, I don't know, when I say Benchmade, they all look the same. The Presidio is kind of like that, but there's something about it that's more compelling than others. And there's another one the light composite LC. There's another one, light composite, like automatic or something like that by them, that also kind of looks like every other Benchmade, but a little different. And that little difference is what makes it look so good. Mr. No One or Mr. Noon, depending. I'm saying no one because that's how I used to spell it. But my DDC is a Fisher Blades Beckwith Covert. Very nice, sir. Used on nothing but skin. EDC is the SE3 on the belt. Very nice. Yeah, wait, DDC. What is DDC? Dedicated. What's DDC? Let me know, Mr. No One. But that Fisher Beckwith is awesome, and I look forward to. I know they're going to come up. The Covert is the one that's out right now with the in pocket sheath, but I know they're going to come out with something bigger, and I'm looking forward to that too. James Hart says, "I'm off. Take care, all." James, have a wonderful weekend. As you know, this is Thursday, and so the weekend starts here. Have a wonderful weekend. Be safe and have fun. Northern Knives, my most carried knife lately is the TRM Shadow, a tall, thin blade with a flat grind. It's a great slicer. Yeah, that's their bar lock knife. That's a nice one. Beckwith Covert is an awesome knife, says Loser. Yeah, no doubt. Poet Fisherman. Sorry, closed it. Poet Fisherman. Killing Toys would be a great band name. Poet Fisherman. This is one of those jokes that comes up like every Christmas around my family. Like my brother and sister who are 5 and 4 years older than I am, and my mom and dad, it's always like, "What'd you get this year, Bobby? Killing Toys?" Oh, Craig, yeah, thank you for recognizing the genius of those word comments. It's like the Killing Joke. That was a band, I think. Greg Vincent says, I've been looking at that Baron Sons Bowie as well. You got me started on large Bowie kick. Soon I can get out to UPS. I'm going to send you a no-namer to experiment on in your backyard. Oh, cool. Oh, I like the no-namers. Someone recently sent me, and I forget the gentleman's name, but he wanted to know the provenance of a Bowie knife that he has that his grandpa gave him, and I couldn't figure it out because there were no stamps on it or anything. But it looked like a combination of your classic German Solingen Bowie knife with the totally neutral stag handle and the totally neutral cross guard, but then the blade looked like it had the long clip that follows the contour of the blade that you'll see from a Sheffield, England knife. So it was really cool. Stephen Clayton says, Rem Alliance Scourge, the TKL Knives Agent 001 and 002, the Raider, the Taylor's Ridge, the Combatant, the TS-87. He's got 2 FLNs on him, the Guardian, the Night Guard 2.0, the Night Stalker Combat Grade, the Gideon V3, the Striker, and the Wingard Wearables Micro Dick Pick, plus the Crudo Knives SD5. Damn, man. If you need something cut, you ask Stephen Clayton. Sorry, that's one hell of a load. Oh, speaking of Solingen, I just mentioned Solingen. Did you see that there was a knife attack in Solingen? Like 3 people were killed on the street and a number of others injured. But I was like, when I heard it was in Germany, I was like, oh man. And then when I heard it was in Solingen, I was like, ooh. And I know that was coincidental, but blade capital, one of the what is it? 3 ancient blade capitals of the world, or 4 or 5. What is it? Seki City. It was Solingen, Sevilla, Spain, Damascus, or am I making the Damascus part up? Northern Knife says Jack Carr using Winkler in his books logo has made them get so getting them so difficult. Yeah, you're right. Jack Carr has sold a lot of equipment. I mean, that's how I got my my dad reads his books and gets swept up in the gear, and he bought me the Northman. That's an expensive damn knife. Those Bill Rapier products are spendy. But yeah, he's a good writer. So you read those knives, you're like, yeah, I could be just like James Reese if I only had a Winkler belt knife. Hinderer Collector, nice to see you here, sir. Hello, Jim and Bob. It's good to see you as always, my man. Angry Tom says, I love the Winkler belt knife. Good quality, nice handle, a little big for everyday carry, but overall, very tough knife. So a buddy of mine would carry it wasn't the belt knife, but it was belt knife size. It wasn't as big as the one that I was talking about, but it was a drop point, and he carried it in his front pocket with an ulti clip. Hey, to each his own. It worked for him. Pete Davidson says, you are a ultra mega weirdo if you wave open a police Ford to open a carton or cut some packaging tape in Australia. Mega ultra weirdo. Well, hey, you know what? There comes a time when you stop caring about people thinking you're a mega ultra weirdo. Because when I really, if you care, or if I cared, when I separate myself from myself and I look down, I'm like, geez, dude, how did that happen? So yeah, I hear you, mega ultra weirdo, and they're ready to commit you because you have a knife larger than the keys it takes to open up that package. Northern Knives, I have a Winkler promo vid that runs on a TV in my shop. He skins a Honda Civic. Nice. I love that. He skins a Honda Civic. Craig Vincent, if that scenario were to happen, where you lose your favorite knife in self-defense, you could always say, after it saved my life, it bade me farewell. Yeah, you could. Yeah. I mean, honest to goodness, you might not want that thing around. You might just not want it. Hinderer Collector says, I carried my XM18 3.5-inch sheep's foot. And I say to you, which one? I'm just kidding. But Hinderer Collector, as his name belies, has an incredible collection of Hinderers. Actually, not too long ago, he posted a picture of like a pile of Hinderers. I'm sure they're very delicately piled, but I was like, oh man, it's like it has the same appeal as like a pile of puppies or a pile of cupcakes or, just a pile of appeal. Will B says, I'm carrying fewer knives because I'm not wearing my blue collar work shirt. I usually have 2 knives in the shirt pockets, but it's too damn hot at work right now. I hear you. I hear that. Like, there are a couple of knives that make those great shirt, like the Broken Skull is a good one. The CEO is a good one. Split and Slices says, tonight's carry is the Kaiser Sheepdog XL murdered out with a Rosecraft Briar Patch Jack. I love the Rosecrafts. I fell way behind. I really need to catch up. No, I don't. Sean Loki, nice to have you here, Sean. Spyderco Caribbean Leaf. Okay. Civivi Cloud Peak Green G10. That's a cool one. Scabber's got a video out with that. I want to see him hard use that knife. Adrian says, awesome tie light. Just got my daughter the 4-inch black blade handle from Midway. Love it. Adrian, you're a good dad. That's a good thing to get your daughter. Will B says, Bob's an anal packer. Yeah, never let that go either. And I just said it online here for it to live forever. How about that? But here's the deal. If you can't laugh with the people who are making fun of you, you're a pain in the ass to be around. Split and Slices says, hey, Jim, not sure if that should be the next t-shirt for the store. Anal packer. Oh, boy. Oh, me and my big mouth. Steven, how's it going, Steve? What's up, Bob and Jim and all? Really interested in the Microtech Atrius out the front. Oh, I didn't know it was called Atrius. You know who that is? Whenever it comes out, seems like no play out the fronts are the future. Yes, sir. I would agree with you. Atrius was the father of Odysseus. Was it Odysseus? Atreus was some Greek hero's father. Atreus, son of Atreus. I can't remember who it was now. Was it Odysseus? No, it wasn't Odysseus. His dad was someone else. See, I learned too many facts. You learn a fact, another one gets pushed out. So all that stuff, I gotta refresh with my daughter. Mustafa Javid, good to have you here, Mustafa. Do you have any knives to showcase that are fixed blade and sheathed? Okay, all right. We're about to dip out of here. I got a bunch. Let me show them off to you, Mustafa. I've been gabbing here. So here I have the new Work Tough Gear V44X. And I have it here next to the SP10 because they're both kind of in that Marine Raider Bowie style. But check this one out. This is one that Dave got me for my birthday. This is the tradition. This is the kukri made by the company Traditional Filipino Weapons, obviously based out of the Philippines. Well, based out of Connecticut with blade makers down in the Philippines. This is a great one. Mostly their swords are Filipino in origin, but they have now kind of struck out and started making a bunch of different knives. Some from European antiquities, some from Asia. Here's another great one. This is one that I've been. Oh, where's my Cinquedilla? My Cinquedilla is up in the sock drawer. I brought it up last night in a little fit of paranoia. What if I need a 5-finger wide dagger? So that's upstairs. But this one is also a sweet one, Mustafa. This one here is the and somewhat inexpensive. Peterbilt Knife Guy. I'm loving your videos, dude. But this one here is the Chieftain Sax, a beautiful brokeback sax from Cold Steel and relatively affordable. Tom Brown, I love your tracker. Daily defense carry. All right, let me see. I got a couple of them, but like I said, these two have been my main daily defense carries all summer long. The Agent 001 and the Nova 2. Both of my design. This one made by TKL Knives. This one made by both, I should say, design collaborations with the makers. TKL Knives on top, Hogtooth Knives on the bottom. These are great for daily defense because they're fixed blades. For the culture. Thank you, Eugene. I appreciate it, man. All right, for the culture. And I will salute you with something special here. But why are they great for defense? Because you don't have to fumble opening them up. Like even a wave knife would be, in my opinion, your best option for bringing a knife to bear in a self-defense situation. That is a folder. Otherwise, I mean, can you imagine even pulling this out and just flipping it out could be an issue if you're shaking, if you're not used to getting in knife fights like most of us aren't, and you're adrenaline dumping or whatever the situation is. It just might not be amenable to smooth micro actions like manipulating a folder. So to me, small fixed blade knives are the best for that. All right, Eugene, for you, sir, a very special fixed blade knife. One of my favorite. Well, this is just about my favorite. This is my Hogtooth Knives made Loveless subhilt fully double-edged fighter here. This is 15N20, and and 1095 blade steel in a very intricate pattern that took Matt Chase quite some time to make. And he gave me a whole tour of that process with pictures as he was making it. This handle, Stag, I requested a Stag handle. And I bumped into him at Blade Show when he had just found this 3 years ago, I guess, at this point. My Carta here, this wrought iron guard and sub hilt is made from reclaimed what do you call it? Reclaimed wrought iron from a bridge, the Longfellow Bridge in Boston, from an iron worker friend of Matt's. So this thing is incredible. I love this. Is my favorite kind of knife with the sub hilt. Just these kind of fighters. It's like a dueling knife almost. And then this beautiful sheath he made. His leather is as good as his knives. Just the stitching is bone straight. Is that a thing? Bone straight? Straight as an arrow. And this sort of corset stitching is just beautiful and kind of just very complimentary. I was about to say sexy, but that's a little weird for a knife, but a very, 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 very beautiful knife. So Eugene, thank you so much for that super chat, my man. I really, really do appreciate it. And that will go to the Future Forge Fund. That is for you. I thank you. And we are about to pull into the station. Have a Knife Day says, in the USA, you're a weirdo if you're not carrying one. Look at a guy today, ask him if he carried a knife, and he say, no, weirdo. Yeah, well, like I said, we got a lot of gelded people these days. I love the Cloud Peak, says Peterbilt Knife Guy. I saw a short of you once you got that, but I don't know if I saw you doing anything with it. Or I don't remember what you did with it, whatever. But I'm glad to hear your endorsement. That means something. Reverend Jim Lander, nice to have you here, Reverend Jim. Howdy, Bob, Jim, and fellow knife junkies. My most carried knife is the Otto Osborne. The reason? It's my favorite knife. Duh. Jacob Green says, what do you know? Wait, you know what works for pains in the... Oh, why? Why did I do that? Anal packing. Yes, that's right. And by that, I just want to reiterate, I mean, I'm very particular about how I put stuff in boxes. Mark Stallman says, hey, Mark, how you doing? Atreus was the father of Agamemnon. Thank you. Achilles, protagonist. Okay. Yeah, Agamemnon was the king that, his brother Menelaus is the one whose wife was taken by Paris. That was Helen. And he comes to Agamemnon in a fit. Agamemnon in a bit of rage and what do you call it? Ambition. They mount their siege of Troy. I got to read those again. I got to read those both again. If you're interested, Stanley Lombardo. Those are really, really great translations of the Iliad and the Odyssey. Very, very, very readable, but still poetic and still written out like that. And they are awesome. And if you like stories about adventure with very gory war scenes and all sorts of monsters in the Odyssey, in the Iliad, it's just fighting and siege and intrigue. It's so awesome. Those are great translations. Stanley Lombardo, he was a professor at the University of Kansas in the 90s and early 2000s, and highly recommend it. If you look at it, Odyssey has a picture of the moon, of the Earth rise from the moon, and the Iliad has a picture of the Normandy landing. Check them out. They're awesome. Northern Knives 10. Thank you, man. Got to head out early. Cigar Lounge is calling. Oh my God, I'd love a cigar right now. But before you go, man, before you go, and before I let all you go, this is for Northern Knives. Thank you so much. And thank you also for, it's away, but thank you also for this. Mike will be joining us on September 19th to give this away to one lucky gentleman junkie. So be sure to join us then. All right, everybody, that does it for me. And this Thursday Night Knives, another one in the books. Be sure to join us. Ooh, we're going to get closed down by thunder here in a second anyway. Be sure to join us on Saturday for a great interview with someone that you know and love. And I won't give you his name now. And join us for the rest of the week. For Jim working his magic behind the switcher, I'm Bob DeMarco saying, until next time, don't take dull for an answer.